lithosphere, and what? An asthenosphere. There is another method of dividing the earth layers. One is we call crust, mantle and the core. Second we call lithosphere, asthenosphere, mesosphere and baryosphere. Another method is what? Our division of earth internally is what? What are the 4 layers? Come on. We are making this 4 layers up to 100 kilometers depth. It's not crust, mantle, core approach. This approach is little different. New kind of approach. Entire solid part, look at this. This is solid part. Sial also, Sima also. Entire solid part up to 100 kilometers depth. So it contains entire crust plus some part of solid what? Upper mantle too, please. Entire crust. Hey, band ho gaya ye laptop. Okay, now it's been open. We don't know which switch is going to work how. Okay, now let's back to our point. Focus. देखिए, the top layer above up to 100 kilometers we called first layer called what? Lithosphere. First top layer is lithosphere. What is the thickness? 100 kilometers. From the surface go up to 100 kilometers. What is the characteristic of lithosphere? It is made up of both. Entire what? Plus upper solid mantle. Upper solid mantle. Mainly Sial. Small location, small Sima is there, but generally this. Then up to 400 kilometers. Up to 400 kilometers, next layer is existing. Next layer is existing, which is plastic state material. Plastic state material exists here within the mantle, within upper mantle, within it's a part of upper mantle. Plastic state material within the upper mantle exists. This layer we call second layer. 100 to 400 kilometers called Asthenosphere. This is second layer. Second layer called Asthenosphere. So it is present completely where? In the which layer? Upper mantle. So what is the physical form? Entirely lithosphere is solid, made up of rocks. This is made up of rocks. Rocks are solid things. Solid state. Entire lithosphere is solid. But asthenosphere is not solid. Not completely solid, not completely liquid also. Or semi-solid or semi-liquid. Any way you can use it. So that mixing of solid and liquid called which state? Plastic state. You understood? Asthenosphere is in which physical form? Plastic. Means what do you mean plastic form? Mixture of solid and liquid. Some of the material melted, some of remain in the solid form. That is the meaning on the ground. So question arises, why asthenosphere have this state? And this is a source of what? Hello? Magma. Asthenosphere is a source of magma for the volcanic process or new rock formation of the lithosphere. So now, why? Question is, why asthenosphere is like this? What is the cause? So reason is temperature. Temperature here is up to 1000, above 800, around 1000 degrees Celsius. This temperature is due to presence of radioactive substance, radioactive minerals. So the asthenosphere has a high concentration of heavy nucleus, which is the most radioactive substance, lighter substance or the heavy substance. You know the periodic table, dekha aap log periodic table. Heavier the nucleus, more unstable it become. Okay, and when become unstable, so what did it try to do? It do the process of spontaneous emission. Spontaneous what? Emission. The emission is called radioactivity. Emission called what? Called radioactivity. And the substance that is capable of doing called become which minerals? which elements? Called radioactive elements. So examples are what? Especially uranium, thorium, plutonium, radium. This can do this all exercise. Okay, these are not lighter substance. These are what? Heavy substance. Plutonium? Huh? No, uranium 233 का अब thorium में भी there are many isotopes. Thorium में there are many isotopes. Oh, that is one is 90%. Even uranium all are not radioactive. In some of the isotopes are what? Highly radioactive in that. So even it happened in some of the isotopes of thorium, some of the isotopes of this, some of them radium. Thorium, whatever is available on in the ground which is not reactive, but we have to convert into that radioactive substance. It can be done. So even uranium 298 क्या है? There are uranium 235 or 298. याद है आप लोगों को? So leave this. I am not going to this. You understand these substances have some radioactive elements into that. Radioactive means some of the isotopes. Please, every substance is not free like only one form. There are many forms. Some of the forms I am taking to which forms? Radioactive forms of these substances. Okay. Now they undergo which emission? Spontaneous, not EM. Spontaneous what? Emissions that generate heat. जो nuclear reactions में क्या होता है? There are two types of reaction. One happen on their own. One happen on their own. That is called spontaneous. On their own. We do not do it out. It happen naturally. Called as what? Spontaneous emissions. It's all a radioactivity. Second is it is not happening on their own. आप लोग कर सकते हो. Like you can trigger it. You can disturb the nucleus, add or remove certain things. You can disturb that. That's called induced emission. That is called which emission called? That I'm not going into the sciences. Leave that. Okay, just I'm talking about natural process. Spontaneous emission produced heat energy. That heat melt some of the substance and turn into which form? Liquid form. And rest which is melting is not rich, remain in which form? Asthenosphere formation is clear to everyone.